come stop and take a trip down on my block. Where you see hidden potential, young minds sharper than pencil, and ain't afraid to speak their mind if they got something against you. We standing with you, we tackle issues like civic pride. Hate will cease to exist, let's put our differences aside. From my side to your side, from Dutchtown to South Side, from Penrose to North Side, from Benton Park to Old North to West End to West Side. We blessed when we step out, we stand down, rise up, stand together, wise up.
This is StitchCast Studio, produced by St. Louis Story Stitchers in St. Louis, Missouri.
In this week's episode, youth leaders discuss the experiences and the influences of growing up in Westside St. Louis. In this, the Why of My City Special Edition podcast.
They say who that, but you already knew that. That be them story stitches, story stitches, story stitches, story stitches.
Hey everybody, it's your girl Emeara here on the rooftop of the ZACK with Branden and a few of our friends who are dear and near to us. And today we're going to kind of talk a little bit about what's going on the west side and a little bit about music, and just life in general. We are all young adults just trying to thrive and make it in St. Louis, Missouri. So yeah.
Definitely. Like she said, I go by the name of Branden, and who we have her. First, let's get into that. Who we have her. We got my guy Otis. We got Jawwaad with us. And all four of us are new graduates from Central Visual and Performing Arts. Not new as in we just graduated this year, but we're all pretty newly removed from high school.
Yeah, so just to start it off, kind of tell us a little bit about yourself, like who you are, what you do,
I guess I'll start off first, guy. Hi, my name is Otis Woodard. I also go by EXO sometimes as a stage name, but I graduated Central at about 2017, and ever since then I've been doing on and off music and working, really just doing trial and error with my life, trying to figure out what path I'm going on, because just like you said, we're just now graduating, we're just now into life. 21 is a fresh age, believe it or not. Even though you're technically grown by law, doesn't mean you're grown anywhere else. So, so right now I'm just trying to go on the right path, just like everybody else, I believe.
Yeah, what's poppin', y'all? What's poppin'? My name is Jawwaad Spann. My artist name is Vintage Vibes. A lot of people really know me around the St. Louis area as Vintage Vibes. I'm a producer, I'm a saxophonist, I'm a model, I'm a photographer. I'm really just a Renaissance black man overall as a good individual.
We hear you. We hear you.
At the same time.
He's stunned a little bit. We hear you.
The flex is hard.
So at the same time, it's like, nah, I'm still, I'm a humble individual, as all my people know. For sure, because at the same time, I still just have to be like, I really have to be myself. And I don't really want to filter who I am as an individual in front of anybody. So this is what I do.
Yeah.
With that being said, I graduated high school 2016 as an instrumentalist. Then I went to college for like a couple years. College went left. Make long story short, move back to St. Louis, start gigging around the St. Louis area, start getting into different organizations and stuff like that. Attended college at St. Louis Community College in Forest Park. And right now, I'm outside of school right now just because of Corona had really just made everything go left. So I'm really just doing music full time at this point. And then in a couple years, just to Atlanta just to finish my career.
Yeah.
So that's really just that for real,
I was gonna say, since he brought up Corona, how is it as an artist, as a young person trying to thrive in our society? How did that kind of like change your plans for the future? And I know, Jawwaad, you were saying about college, and I want to hear from B too, if that's cool.
I mean, like, overall, it really just took like a huge lift. Like, from you moving every day, you actually productively had your same routine that you was doing for like 4 or 5, 6 months straight. Is now like you really got to change everything around differently. So at the same time as a creative, like, okay, how can I still put out my content? How can I still move a certain way? How can I be able to like, move or just maneuver around a certain amount of people and still do what I do every day? You know what I'm saying? So it's like I still have to be active on social media, whether with my Instagram, Twitter, whatever, or even YouTube. Try to create content, go on Instagram Live, as many times as I can, so people know what I'm actually still doing. So I'm still keeping in contact, still having like that personal relationship with my followers or my fans or whoever who's really looking at me for who I am. And then on top of that, financially, it just made a whole dip. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was doing this full time, but like now I had to work a whole new job. You know, I was relying on gigs, I was relying on, you know, parents to a certain degree, even though I'm still in my mother crib, but it's just a whole process within that, you know what I'm saying? So it's hard. It's hard as a creator, still trying to do this and still trying to move throughout Corona, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Man, I feel that all the way. Like you know, I dropped the EP in March, and the plan to better promote the EP, I had a bunch of gigs lined up. Like you, I do have a regular day job, but I also rely on gigs, you know, for income or whatnot. And around, let's see, I dropped the EP in March, and like by the end of that month, 6 or 7 gigs got canceled instantly, you know. So I definitely feel that it was a huge curve, you know, but I think everybody felt that way. You know, everybody felt like it was a huge curve, and I don't just mean everybody in America, this was a global pandemic, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of people wasn't ready for what came, you know, and this became something that we had to kind of learn and evolve as it was happening. You know, and even now, you know, there are people that still haven't gotten stimulus checks and tax returns, and you know, people are protesting for stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like, this has been a crazy eventful year. So I think everybody is having to kind of learn how to drift and adjust, you know what I'm saying? Luckily, there are companies like Emeara and Spire who kind of had, you know, safeguards in place or whatnot, where people didn't have to go broke trying to keep their electricity on and things like that, you know what I'm saying? So gratefully we had things like that.
Yeah.
But I think this was a huge curveball for everybody, and very few people was able to knock out the park, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people struck out, you know what I'm saying, with something like this. You know, you got a few billionaires that became mega billionaires during the pandemic, you know, but for most people, a lot of them had to learn quick how to adjust, you know, or it got real ugly.
Turn that L to a lesson real quick.
Yeah.
It was a humbling experience. I mean, everybody was just used to how things were before, you know, going out almost every single day.
Yeah.
No limit on what time you had to be out or where you was going, who you was meeting, and then everything completely shutting down, and literally the world setting on fire. Because literally you got pandemics, riots, like you said, the restrictions on time and everything like that. I was just about to make a turnaround, you know what I'm saying? This is my fallout year, and this is the year I was like, yeah, this is where I really was about to get on things. And then like COVID happened, riots, everything like that, and it systematically shifted the whole environment for me. So now I like have to cancel things that I booked, reservations, you know what I'm saying, studio reservations, pretty much, you know, trips that I had planned, people that I was going to see. So, you know, it systemically took away not only the economical and the music wise, it took away your social, you know what I'm saying, energy, you know what I'm saying, your
That's crazy. Yeah, I was actually going to touch on that about the social part, because like how Jawwaad was saying, you know, he had to be even more consistent with his social media presence. You know, for me, I'll honestly say, like, for me, social media hasn't always been a thing like where I wanted to put my all into. It's like something you want to, but for me it was like, it's just something about it where I just can't. And so with this pandemic kind of hitting, I literally kind of like just really disconnected from it in so many ways. So it was like just kind of getting back on there, you know? And so for me socially too, it kind of made me like kind of far apart. But on the other side, it made me more, you know, dedicated to my work, to my family and my friends, like those who were close to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? It made me like sit down and really slow down and really take time and kind of like just be grateful for what I have right now. Because like Branden said, some people had to strike out and was like, bro, like, here, hey, landlord, like, bro, I probably won't have this for the rest of the year. Like, is there something we can do? Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's definitely a blessing to be able to say, like, man, like, God did this for me. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So on that note, like, you know, it kind of like just helped me to like really slow down and be grateful.
And the thing is like, I was looking at Corona more of like yin and yang, but at the same time you have a dark side, but you have a light side. You know, obviously throughout this whole dark side, you know what I'm saying, it really just took people away from like their everyday lifestyle. But on the flip side, it's like you start to realize and start to appreciate the smallest things you really wasn't even like paying attention to for real. You know what I'm saying? So at the same time, it's like you always out and about every day. You know what I'm saying? Like now you get to stay in the house, you get to talk to family. You have to be around family. You can actually be able to talk to your nieces and nephews to the point where you just run past them all every day. Like, well, hey, what's up? You know what I'm saying? Well, I'll see you later. I'll see you later. I'll see you later. You get to actually sit down and talk to them. Like, hey, what's going on with you? And like another thing, like you get to actually pour more time into self. Corona was more of a season where you really just show people about like their personal growth. You got to be selfish within yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like if there's certain things that you were like struggling with as an individual that you have to really be honest yourself within these certain areas. You actually had time to work on those things. So like as a musician or as a writer, as a creative overall, Corona was really just like a time period for really just for you just to focus on yourself as a good individual. Because at the same time, like you really not going nowhere for real. And everything pretty much is shut down. So it's like you had no other choice but to really just focus on yourself and just to dwell in your heart.
Yeah, I could totally relate to that because I used this entire quarantine period as a reflection time. I mean, like, I know that I've had like a lot of bad mental tracks in the past. So like this year was just pretty much refocusing myself on something that for the first time I actually knew that I wanted. So like I've been, sitting in my room for weeks, in on end, contemplating, what is my next step? What do I want to be? You know what I'm saying? And what can I do during this period of shutdown? I mean, don't get me wrong. Like you said, it's very socially disconnected right now and everything, but the world is still spinning as we speak. You know what I'm saying? So there's obviously still ways that I can reintegrate myself into the world. I can rethink myself into the world. You know what I'm saying? And not only that, I can relate to that family thing that you were saying too, because like during this quarantine, you know what I'm saying, I've had like family members I haven't talked to since like my dad passed away. You know what I'm saying? They calling me, hitting me up, and straight like reconnecting with me. And it was like, it almost like reminded me that even though like going into this, I had a bad negative perspective, like how this was just supposed to be my turnaround and everything and all that, and now it's like shut down. I start looking at it like, hey, it really opened my eyes to see like how much I really got around me, you know what I'm saying, and how many people really want to touch base with me or connect with me, like, so.
Definitely. I really like where this is going because I wanted to ask y'all what were some of the good things that came out of this. Something about having more time. That's one of the biggest excuses in the world is I don't have the time to do this, I don't have the time to do that, or whatever the case is.
People are busy.
Exactly.
Not good busy.
You know what I'm saying? But now you see a lot of people, you got all this time, you sitting at home or whatever. A lot of people have started businesses. A lot of people have developed healthy practices that I hope that they carry into when the world starts to proceed as normal, if we can ever go back to normal. You know what I'm saying? Like I have a vision board now. You know what I'm saying? A vision board, my walls are covered with like quotes and motivational stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing stuff daily that I feel are bringing me closer to where I want to be. And I'm more committed to it than I was when I was just going to work every day and then coming home feeling too tired to work on the craft or whatnot. Now I have that energy, you know what I'm saying? I have a different type of motivation, even eating healthier and stuff like that or whatnot. So I'm glad that we're talking about ways that the pandemic has positively affected us. Speaking of having to adjust or whatnot, I know, like I said earlier, all of us are newly removed from high school. So I want to talk to y'all a little bit about what the adjustment was like, because high school was a little different. So first, let's start here. Since all of us are from Central, Jawwaad and Otis, what are some things that y'all felt are special about the school now that you maybe didn't all the way appreciate while you were there? Now that you're out of high school, what are some things that you can look back on like, man, that was special, that doesn't happen everywhere?
The stage.
Yeah.
Period.
Most period. Absolutely.
Like you can go to any other high school, performing arts high schools, like in either from Chicago, either from like LA or whatever, and like just to have that particular stage in St. Louis, bro.
Absolutely. The audio, the lights, the sipe in the back, everything.
Everybody don't get that, bro. Like Central, but to be honest, like Central, like technical systems and like the whole behind the scenes, it's a lot advanced and more than like some of these other local businesses in St. Louis in general to do this full time. You know what I'm saying? It's like this high school is like set up for you to like, hey, you really want to do this, bro. You really want to pour your life into like doing music full time, bro. Like here's like a whole experience, just like a legit whole rundown. So like when you get out of high school, you actually have like in your mind like, okay, so it's supposed to be like this, supposed to be like this, supposed to be like this.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? And that's just like the only thing that I looked at. I was like, that's dope, because like when you looking at the BET Awards, when you looking at the VMA, it's like that's the whole rundown.
Definitely. Yeah, I got hit in the face with that, especially after you try to continue doing gigs after you got out of high school, and you realize not everybody don't have them high quality wireless mics. you know what I'm saying, you don't have a dancer in the next room that you can go to, like, yo, you want to hop on the stage with me? You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that.
Somebody on the soundboard that don't know what they're doing, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
How you sounding trash.
Most stuff. And that was one of the things that, like, I felt like was most special about Central, especially while we were going there. If you were really passionate about your craft, it was really hard to be content with where you were at Central. Like, every art had somebody that did that art to the highest of high levels, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So everything I did with and dabbled in, whether it was piano, guitar, rap, poetry, acting, there was always somebody that you could look at and be like, I want to be as good as them. You know what I'm saying? Or I want to be better than them. You know what I'm saying? So you constantly working and constantly improving. And
then it was more like a community too. You know what I'm saying? Because
absolutely.
Like most people would think that it's like competition in the school like that. No, you will have literally the advanced students trying to mess with the intermediate students. Like, hey, let me teach you how to do this song real quick. Let me show you these notes real quick. Or you want to rehearse? Because most people don't believe that socialism is rare, but it is when you hit the real world. You don't have people trying to give you a handout or trying to connect with you, even if y'all in the same craft or in the same network. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like you're competing once you get out into the world.
Bro, it's like it's nothing but all love. Like Central, bro, it show nothing but love, bro. Like from the performing arts nights, especially from when we have performing arts nights, you be having like your mama, your auntie, your cousin talking about, and then some other friends, and then like everybody got on the stage, like, bro, that's you. That's you?
Exactly.
Like, hold on.
It just changed your whole, it just changed people's perspectives just because like this is what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm doing this for love. You know what I'm saying?
Most definitely. Absolutely. I feel like you can't put a price on that. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're passionate about your craft, going to a high school full of other people that are passionate about their crafts, you know what I'm saying? And then, like you said with the stage, I think they said it's like, what, a $10 million auditorium? They let everybody know as soon as they get the chance.
They remodeled that twice. You don't you don't realize that there was a classic setup at first. You know what I'm saying? And then they did a remodeling.
Our class, when Jawwaad came in 2012, that's when they had started redoing the new one. So we actually got lucky.
I feel you.
You know, and then we got lineage and whole legacies to look back on, celebrities and musicians and everything that have generated from that one single location. When you ask about like Central, like VPA schools all around the globe, pretty much, or just in St. Louis, period. You know what I'm saying? Central's always brought up just because of the pure fact of how many like people in that craft they generated, how much they focus on it, how much they've been known. You know what I'm saying too?
Most definitely.
Hey, the crazy thing is too, I wanted to talk about is how Otis was saying it's like a community. Because I don't even know if you remember, we met and you started teaching me how to play piano, Branden.
Word.
Yeah, and then it was like we would have these rap battles. That would be
that's what I remember.
Heated.
It used to get so tense, and we would do this in our creative writing classes. We would just start battling, and it would get so intense that whoever the poetic coach at that time was would have to stop it. They would separate us. I would, like, everything done, the whole class like, oh, and I'm sweating and all of that. Like, that's how heated this stuff would get.
But
like,
it's crazy because after that, it's like we were cool. It wasn't like
it's all love.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it was
absolutely.
Just like,
once you get done, it's almost like any competition. Like after a football game, after a basketball game, you have nothing but respect for your opponent.
Absolutely,
Nothing but respect.
Yeah, definitely, it was dope.
So let me ask y'all this: us going into high school, that was a lot of our earliest or first experiences. You know what I'm saying, with high level performing and whatnot. Us getting that so early and feeling like that was the norm. Do you think that helped or hurt us after leaving high school?
It benefited a lot because at the same time, it's like, when you at Central, you know what I'm saying, like you get like all those jitters out, you know, like you have social anxiety, you start getting like you start freezing up on stage and stuff like this, and after a while, like throughout your 4 years of high school, you've been through all this, but you got that out of the system. So like now when you outside in the real world, bro, you just out here just doing your thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, that experience and all of that. Yeah.
It's like the average person, like they had to go through that. Yeah, they had to have like their own like coping mechanism, you know what I'm saying, just to do that, just to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? Some people rap through in the mirror. Some people like sing in the shower and stuff like that. But at the same time, for us just to have it like that in high school, like coming in as coming out as an 8th grader, coming into as a freshman, you know what I'm saying? You like 14, 15 years old, getting that age. You know what I'm saying? You getting what some people ain't getting until like say like in their late 20s.
Yeah, absolutely.
For me, I got it though, cause I was going to Carlane. And that was a visual and performing arts school.
Me too.
Yeah, so.
Me too.
Yeah, so I got it kind of like earlier, you know what I'm saying?
Dope.
And Drennan, actually, because I thought I was going to go to Metro. I had 4.0. I thought I was going to go to Metro, play basketball. Somehow I ended up getting put on the waiting list. But my 8th grade year, Drennan had actually came to Carlane and started teaching us how to play guitar there. And I picked it up and I could never put it back down. Like, it was just like my fingers just was like there. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like when I went to Central, it was kind of like I was like already like confident, you know, in where I was supposed to be.
Confidence be important, man.
Yeah.
When you going into music and everything like that, just a single hesitation in your emotions or what you thinking could really throw off an entire song, a dance, a piece of painting. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, I went to Ames too. So literally, I went to 3 different VPA schools.
Word, so you was just...
Yeah, I went to VPA schools my entire life.
All Otis is performing art school. Otis don't even know what a regular school looks like.
I don't know what a regular school is, because to me, I felt like that's how school was supposed to be the entire time. You know what I'm saying? That was the environment it was supposed to be the entire time. And being nurtured with that kind of confidence, that kind of mindset and everything like that, like you said, it sets you forward good in the future, because you know what I'm saying? It's almost like that's all you are. You know what I'm saying? You don't even have to rethink or second guess yourself when you're in the studio or when you're doing a dance or something like that, because it's been who you are since you started.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's time for another StitchCast Studio Arts Interlude. That's right, we about to pick the city up. This week, we have a Story Stitches original entitled America. Let's take a listen.
Oh, beautiful, for spacious sky, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains, majesty above the fruited plain. God shed His grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for pilgrims' feet who stand in passion stress, the thoroughfare for freedom beat across the wilderness. America,
let me ask y'all this. Everybody here is an artist.
Yeah.
And with y'all being from the west side or whatnot, does the environment that y'all live in affect y'all art in any type of way? Do y'all draw inspiration from it? Does it discourage you? Like, how does that affect y'all artistry?
I mean, if you live on the west side or any urban area of St. Louis, I can quite honestly say, just from my experience, you know what I'm saying? Like, the environment, the culture, the pains, the goods, the neighbors, everything touches you. You know what I'm saying? It almost gives you a sense of being homebound. You know what I'm saying? Because when you grow up in a neighborhood like that, most people see the outside of it as being violent or bad or something like that. But it's really a closed circuit community, a real connected community. They only communicate and help each other. You know what I'm saying? And the few people that you do see out there bad, you know what I'm saying? Most of the times are your neighbors, your brothers, your sisters. You know what I'm saying? So all of that is just connection. You know what I'm saying? The pain, the bad, the good. It's almost like harmony. You know what I'm saying? It all connects through you. You know what I'm saying?
What he was saying too, I actually started to notice right after high school. I knew, one, if I went to college, I didn't know what I wanted to go for. Two, I didn't want to waste money. And three, in the future, I wanted to be an entrepreneur. So I decided to go to a free internship, which was only supposed to last 6 months. But within that, and it became a 2-year thing, like my mom, she ended up moving to the west side. And so when I would go over there and just kind of see the environment, like, and just kind of see everything, that's when my best poems would come out. Like, that's when my best, like, songs would come out. Because it's like, what does this say? This guy said, when you start eating, you lose your hunger and you grow fat. Like, so like me being in this environment where it was like, I had everything I need. I didn't have to worry about gunshots or like, I still was in the hood, but I ain't had to like really worry too much about it. And like how we was gonna make ends meet because rent was being paid. Like, I was good. But then when I came back home, it's like that reminder, like, this is where I come from. This is where I need to be building up. This is what I need to be like really focused on trying to like make better. Like, especially if like other kids are coming up behind me, like I want them to have more. Like, I want them to see more and have more value for themselves and their community, So, and sometimes I would just go over my mom's house for that reason right there. Just because I knew it was gonna give me a creative spark. Like you said, like the pain, the struggle, like definitely was and has always been has been my spark, like that light that I needed to like just keep on blazing.
Like from my point of view, it's more like, it has the good and its bad parts, you know what I'm saying? But on my end, I kind of like live more like in the rough area of it. And the thing is, it's more like being stuck in the mud, you know what I'm saying? So at the same time, it's like you seeing like hookers, drug dealers, crackheads, you know what I'm saying, prostitutes, like all that stuff. It's really just depressing. I'm seeing certain things I shouldn't be seeing at the age of like 13, 14 years old and stuff like that. So like with me being an artist, it's kind of like, it gives me like that outlet, like I cannot be comfortable, you know what I'm saying? So it's at the same time, it's like I don't want to be comfortable in my own environment. I mean, of course, like my mother gonna be there, you know what I'm saying? My folks gonna be there and stuff like that, but I don't want to be stuck in St. Louis, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to be stuck in this environment, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to be like the same, I want to be like my homeboys where it's like you been here your whole life, bro, you know what I'm saying? Not doing nothing. So at the same time, for my inspiration, it's like, that's why I go on YouTube and try to like look at other things, try to follow certain people, just trying to like change my perspective mentally. But at the same time, if I can change my mental perspective, whatever, I'm already home on the right track, but just trying to like move college, try to get out something different. You know what I'm saying? So like, it really just changed my whole artistry. From even just going outside playing my sax and just like letting the sounds just resonate in my hood. Like, I got people pulling up like, that's you playing a horn, that's you playing a horn. Like, yeah, I don't even know that. I'm like, I take the things that's around me and I put in my art. I just take what's in my environment and just try and turn that into whatever that's good.
Definitely.
I feel that all the way. Nina Simone said that it's an artist's job and responsibility to reflect the times or whatnot. And obviously not all artists agree with that. But do y'all feel as artists that y'all have a responsibility and an obligation to reflect what's going on?
I feel like it's not just a responsibility, it's almost like a known. If you live in a certain time period, regardless of your own personality or anything, you are naturally going to run into influences. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong, being convicted to yourself and your beliefs and everything like that is the pure-hearted, the right thing to do. You know what I'm saying? But you can't ignore the fact that there is always going to be change. There's always going to be differences in time and stuff like that. So you should also move with that and create that and integrate that into yourself, because it's not only going to change you, it's going to move you forward.
My thing was, I was going to say, just not being selfish and those type of things. You know what I'm saying? Because at the same time, it's like, if I want you to make it out, if I want you to make it out, if I want you to make it out, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna look out for everybody. And at the same time, if I see something that something I had already experienced, whatever, I'm gonna tell you, just for the simple fact that I had already been through it. So at the same time, it doesn't make no sense for me to go through it, you to go through it. Especially in our generation, it's like, hey bro, don't do that, bro. Don't do that, don't do that.
Yeah.
But you got a lot of people who's so sensitive, it's like, man, like, you gonna do what you gonna do regardless, bro. At least I told you the truth.
Right. And it's sometimes too, I had a podcast with a few young guys who was saying they wish that, you know, like the older generation would have just took that extra time, like see a young dude walking down the street, like, and just talk to him, just give him like a few golden nuggets, like, you know what I'm saying? Or like, young man, pull your pants up. It's some people that do that, but it's not a whole lot anymore. But back to like what you asked about being influenced by the times that we're in. Definitely. And for me, it's like more on a spiritual level, because it's like you could feel stuff in the atmosphere, and people don't tend to understand that music is not just words and rhythm and music. It is like a spiritual aspect that comes with it. Yes. It's talking to you on a deeper level. So like, that's why, especially as a musician or as a lyricist, we have to be very strategic and intentional about what we say, how we say it, and when we say it. And like, it's this song that I had made last year, and I just felt like we still needed freedom. Like, even today, I still feel like we haven't fully experienced like the freedom that America, you know, says they have. Yeah, says, you know, that is there. And so I had made a song about that, and then everything just kind of started to tense up, especially over the summertime with all the protests and the riots. And like, I had never released a song or even really thought about releasing it until then. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like he said, you're going to be influenced, and that'll all go along with, you know, your belief system and who you are, you know. Yeah, you know, and it'll mold and you'll craft it if you let it, you know. And sometimes it could be in a very positive way, and sometimes it comes out negative, but it still has like this positive like echo to it, like, you know, that makes people want to drive for the change, you know, that we want to see, and those different types of things. So yeah,
I feel that. Jawwaad, you said something that really stuck out to me about how or really E, you did too, but about how older generations don't really look out for the younger generations as much. So my question is, older generations that were more conservative, you know what I'm saying, do you think us moving away from these conservative and restrictive values or whatnot into more of a liberal and free standpoint, which also has its pros and cons, but do y'all think that older generations not looking out for younger generations and the problems that we're having now that they didn't have back then, are these just I guess side effects of us moving away from the type of things that they did? You know what I'm saying? Because you have more freedom, you're more conscious of your mental health, so there are pros, but are these the cons of it? Is this the trade-off that we got to deal with?
So my thing is, it's more really just about like being in your truth, you know what I'm saying, walking in your truth. At the same time, it's like you really have to be honest with yourself. If you know, bro, like you need to pull your pants up, bro, and you just doing how you just moving or whatever, now like, oh, hey, like, hey, bro, pull your pants up. Okay, bro, I got you. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like, you should have been honest with yourself. Like, you knew you should have did that. So it's like that, all right, across the board. That's just how it applies to everything else. Like, for example, like, I feel like people from our generation, we look out for one another at the same time. So the thing is, we have to get older. So at the same time, we looking out for other people as well.
Yeah, I feel like that naturally comes with that standpoint. I mean, you know, like you saying, when you think more independently and stuff like that, it's easier to block out things that are in your exterior. Even if I give you an amazing piece of advice, like you said, like with the pants and everything like that, you can choose whether to ignore or acknowledge what I say to you and to carry that out into the world. It's just a variant on who you are. Like, so in a way, it is a trade-off, but it was naturally supposed to come. You know what I'm saying? With the change in time. And when you think more independently, you start to naturally block out certain outer aspects and stuff like that, and start choosing and picking what you have demands for or not, or what you're gonna inflict yourself on or not.
Yeah, and with that being said too, let's not forget that we had to adapt. You know, our mothers and fathers, you know, had to adapt with the new systematic pressures that were applied. You know, it's not just that people just didn't want to teach us, but sometimes it was like your father wasn't there to teach you.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like your grandfather wasn't there to teach your mother or your father to do or not to do. You know what I'm saying? And so some people really just don't have, that's not common sense for them, you know?
Right,
like
right.
That's why they say some common sense ain't, you know,
Common.
really common.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Common
saying?
at all.
And it's because it's like, it's not that, you know, like, oh, you don't have no home training. Well, that's a real thing. Like, and it's not because they don't want to. It's just that it was some gaps, it was some holes. And then I feel like too, that is where us as a community is supposed to step in, because it takes a village to raise a child.
Most definitely.
You know what I'm saying?
Most
So
def.
that's where us as a community should have came together more, you know, even more. Like, we shouldn't have let us break us apart. You know what I'm saying? We shouldn't have let us like put distance between us, but we should have came together even more, you know, and put our foot down. You know what I'm saying? If it was nothing but women, we should have
Gathered as one.
You know,
what I'm
like-
saying? Instead of thinking independently for yourself, because that in alone is selfish. You might think it might be a good idea at the time, but it isolates you. You know what I'm saying? And it puts you on a completely different outturn or outlook than the whole group in and of itself. You know what I'm saying? If you got one person saying that I know systemically better than anybody else, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna naturally put everybody in a disorder and disarray. You know what I'm saying? Regardless if the other 29 people are together, that one is still off, and it's still causing dysfunction within the group.
yeah.
No, one thing I wanted to say that you had really touched a point that really like just poked my nerves. Basically, like if somebody wasn't there, like for example, like my grandmother wasn't there, just give me like those type of like words of wisdom, you understand, and stuff like that. My mother, she told me one thing. She was saying like, you want to walk in your truth to the point where you don't have to make any excuses for yourself at all. You know what I'm saying? So for example, like if I want to become like this phenomenal quote unquote jazz musician, or if I want to become like this good rapper, if I want to become like a legit phenomenal writer, as a novelist or whatever, like you have all the resources in the world in this generation, in this times, bro. Like that's one thing I really love about our generation, is because at the same time we're not standing for nothing, and we're gonna do whatever it takes for us just to get what we're gonna get, and we're gonna grind, period. And at the same time, it's like we make excuses just because we don't really for real ain't being honest with ourselves, and we ain't really trying to do it.
Definitely.
So at the same time, it's for us just to like really had to grind. We really had to grind, because at the same time, it's like the stakes is like really higher than what it was back then. Because back then in the 90s, you know what I'm saying, you can get put on just for like here's a CD or here's a tape. Now like, bro, I gotta have streams, I gotta do this, I gotta do, you know what I'm saying, you have a whole bucket list you gotta do just in order for you to get put on to a certain degree. So that's what I'm saying, it really just ties back to like not making excuses for yourself, really living and walking by that, staying in your truth, and just still being true to who you are. You know what I'm saying? Ain't really changing up for nobody yet. Ain't nothing wrong with having influences, but as long as I'm still staying true to who I am, perfecting myself, my personal growth, my spirituality, and my mental health, you're gonna thrive, you're gonna be great.
You're gonna be consistent, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, consistency can be most of anything. You know, you can have all the talent in the world, and if you keep falling off, you never gonna get anywhere. You know
But at the same time, it's all about you being honest with yourself, and that's the hardest part about anything.
Absolutely.
Even myself, you know what I'm saying? Like there's been some
Absolutely.
times I feel like I should have had practice, you know what I'm saying? Way more, especially in high school.
Me too.
So like when I was in high school, I was like, you know what I'm saying? I was playing my horn or whatever. I was just caught up just because I was in the moment, just because everything was cool. It's like, dang, I'm playing my horn, I'm on the stage. Low key, I'm taking everything for granted. But at the same time, it's like when I got out of high school, it was reality hit. So I was like, all right, I really got practice. Say my main skills. I really got to transcribe. I really got to like learn the biography on like all these artists. Like I really had to like learn these things, because at the same time, you really want to prepare yourself for later on down the road. Because later on down the road, you know what I'm saying? Like when somebody asks you certain questions, you ain't trying to be looking stupid on camera. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, you want those things to fall back on you. On me. So at the same time, it's like as long as you being honest. Yeah, so it's like as long as you being honest with yourself, bro, it's like just like to get studying, like that's it. That's it.
Most definitely. I think the whole bit about being honest about yourself is true in every walk of life. You know what I'm saying? It's not just exclusive to music at all. And I actually think that us not being honest with ourselves has a lot to do with what's wrong in the world. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that what's wrong in the world causes us not to be honest with ourselves. Us not being honest with ourselves is causing a lot of what's wrong with the world. You know what I'm saying? So to me, I feel like you're right. That's one of the hardest things. It's scary. You have to be really brave to look within yourself and say, okay, this ain't okay, that ain't okay.
But look, Corona has given us that time.
Exactly. Exactly.
You have to choose what you think now. You have to choose what you thinking on, or who you is as a person, because now everything else is gone. You know what I mean?
Most def. I wish I could quote the guy. It was a guy on Oprah. I don't know what his name is, but he said that a lot of people, like a lot of pseudo racists, are intellectual cowards or whatnot. That's why I think it's important to, even if you don't live in a poor environment, you know what I'm saying, to just go through them, you know what I'm saying, go through and be informed of what people are going through, you know what I'm saying, because I read somewhere that insensitivity is a defense mechanism or whatnot, you know what I'm saying, and a tool to distance yourself from whatever the issue is, you know what I'm saying.
Because you don't have to hurt once you're not connected. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to hurt at all. You know
exactly, you know what I'm saying?
It's no longer a part of you. It's no longer in your heart.
Right. So it's easy for people who don't have to go through certain things that people like us have to go through to say, well, if you don't like this country, then leave. You know what I'm saying? But the fact of the matter is that I have every right to this land that you have. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? If we're being honest about it, there's no right that you're entitled to that I shouldn't also be entitled to. You know what I'm saying? So one of my rights is being able to say I don't like what's going on in my country. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Or whatever. But like I said, you have to be intellectually brave in order to dive into stuff like that.
And it's true. And one thing I want to add on top of that, bro, like now, like we live in like a how can I put it? A very sensitive, like environment, bro. Just because at the same time, like, bro, like I can't.
It's unstable.
Bro, like for real, it's just like I can't even say what's on my mind. You know what I'm saying? Like I can respect your opinion, bro. You can respect mine, but at the same time, if I can't respect yours, bro, like I disagree about what you're saying, but at the same time, it's like we can still, you know what I'm saying? We can still be homies, bro. You ain't gotta be doing all that other stuff, bro. Like it ain't about none of that, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like you in your feelings. It ain't about being in your feelings, bro. It's about you being upfront. Because at the same time, you got people like in their 40s, bro, telling you how it is, where you got somebody who's 19, 18, 20, they can get mad, but it's like you not facing the real reality of like what's really going on, bro. You know what I'm saying? So it's just
you caught up in your feelings. You let your feelings intertwine with your logic. And don't get me wrong, a lot of times emotions do intertwine with logic, regardless of what a lot of people say. You know what I'm saying? A lot of intellectual decisions are made out of pure, you know what I'm saying, emotion. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you have to be able to extinguish the difference in that. You know what I'm saying? And acknowledge that there is a difference between sound thought processes and breaking down and critically looking at a situation from feeling a way about something. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of things done nowadays is because we're feeling a way. You know what I'm saying? We feel that this is right. You know what I'm saying? We feel that this is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just sitting down and putting the two together. I mean, I don't want to go out and say that you got to straight, you know, critically break down every single problem that you face in the world, but you got to be able to accept what it is and then be able to process that.
See, that's the hardest thing, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people out here in the world don't even want to like accept the fact just because like it ain't, they think it's not their reality.
Yeah.
It's reality, but it ain't their reality. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly, because they're being selfish. You know what I'm saying? They're thinking inside themselves. You know what I'm saying? And they're only able to see inside themselves because they're the ones living in that reality.
But one thing I can say about this generation particularly is like we can actually see it and accept it, and that's it. And that's the biggest thing, bro, because you got people who actually like way older than us, like in their 40s, 50s, 60s, stuck in their ways, bro. Can't change their ways at all, but at the same time we can actually look at it and we can change it and work on it, and that's like one like small little glitch that can just be taken out of our personality, and we can focus on something way better than what it is. You know what I'm saying? Than somebody who's like really like in their 50s and 60s, bro. Like that's just imagine like how much better we gonna be later on down the road if we fix these small things now within our personal self. Because like some of the things are genetically like implanted in us, you know what I'm saying, just because where we came from. Then like the people who we came around based upon our environment, and then from what we see and what we put into our everyday lives. So at the same time, it's like if we like fix those like inner self things way better than like how people are like they don't, you know what I'm saying, how people are like in their 80s or 70s, or you know, people who really older than us or whatever. So I see how they are. It's like, bro, like surpassing them, bro.
Absolutely.
And that's one thing I love about the generation. It's like we gonna grind, we gonna work on it, and we gonna, you know what I'm saying? All right, what's next?
Most definitely. One of the things that's crazy about this generation is that this is the most intolerant group of people that I've ever met. Like that
It's
I've
like
ever
we
seen.
tolerant, but we don't have patience.
Exactly. And you know, it's almost like we don't tolerate people not being tolerant. Like this is one of the most, and this is a good and a bad thing. Like you know, everybody got their pros and cons or whatever. But this year, I can't tell you how many times I've seen or read, if you disagree with this, block me or unfriend me and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And we have to be able to, you know what I'm saying, disagree. And it be about crazy stuff like about the y'all remember the debate about whether or not the wife comes before the mother and vice versa or whatever. It was so many people like, if you feel like the mother comes first or if you feel like the wife comes first, just block me. And that's like crazy to me because like the only reason that should ever matter is if you the one that's about to marry that person. You know what I'm saying? And obviously you not about to marry them. You know what I'm saying? So we don't really have no, you know what I'm saying? I done been blocked for not blocking people that disagree with me. You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be able to communicate because
haters.
Communication.
The answers are never completely on one side. It's almost always somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I can't say Republicans are evil or Democrats are evil and nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? Because some situations I feel conservative about, some I feel liberal about. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever the case. But people pick a side and just completely demonize this side. This side is absolutely evil. You know what I'm saying? I'll be looking at some posts and laughing. Like one of them was like, Democrats support death. And that was their take on pro-choice or whatnot, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. And I ain't asking y'all to jump out the window or whatever, but you know what I'm saying. But like it's just crazy how they manipulate, you know what I'm saying, based off of images and feelings or whatever. And everybody wants to be completely right. Nobody wants to be a little wrong or whatever the case is. You know what I'm saying. Nobody's at least willing to admit they wrong.
Yeah.
And we're suffering because of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One thing I can say on that, bro, and like I said, this is just my point of view. It's like, if you know who you are as an individual, if somebody had said something that was off the wall, it's just not clicking, it's like making you like, what?
Yeah.
It don't matter, bro, because at the same time, it's like, no, I'm not gonna like have that like disrupt my whole aura because it's something that you don't believe in. Period. That's why, like, one of the main reasons why I barely get on Facebook, bro, because people already putting out like bad energy or just like unrealistic thoughts or just opinions about certain things. It's not really relevant.
Exactly. They just putting all this
People just talking, but at the same time, it's like, nah, bro, I really understand where you're coming from. And the thing is like, you gonna have to let people be people. Like, you know what I'm saying? People gonna be people. That's
it's hard to realize that though.
Yeah.
It really is hard to realize that. I mean, I remember just 4 or 5 years ago, I couldn't stand the world. You know what I'm saying? I felt like I was an enemy with everybody. And quite simply, it was just due off the fact because I couldn't see no other viewpoint than the one I was given. Once you start thinking outside and start realizing that there is more than just your story in the actual story itself, then you'll start realizing that not everybody's a villain just because they done a bad thing with you, or they had something wrong against you, or they said something wrong against you, because you never fully understand where they coming from to have them do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I could definitely say that's one of the reasons why I love Story Stitchers. Quick plug, I'm not ashamed of it, but just because, you know, it's brought a group of youth together, and most of them are from Central, but we do have others from other schools and other parts of the city. But it's bringing a group of youth together, not only youth, but, you know, adult mentors. And we come together, and it's like, you know, sometimes you could clash with somebody, you don't agree, but it's like, you know, it's like a family. It's like, well, I still gotta go back there. Like, I'm still going back to Story Stitches, whether they there or not. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I feel like in a way it's kind of helped us to get those type of, you know, characteristics and to sharpen those, you know, those things, those communication skills.
Those
definitely.
bonds, really. You know what I'm saying? When y'all are that networked into each other, don't get me wrong, I'm not a frequent participator of Story Stitchers or anything like that, but I can truly say that when a group of people connect on that kind of level, it's very powerful. You know what I'm saying? One person can do a lot of things. A group of people can change a nation. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You know, with y'all words, y'all intellect combined together, y'all are gonna be able to see things past y'all vision, past y'all own intellect, your own mind, because everybody's perspective is gonna become one. You know what I'm saying? And that's gonna create a sense of harmony between all of y'all. You know what I'm saying? That's true strength in my belief.
Yeah.
Love and harmony. People
Absolutely.
can talk all the mess they want, but that's strength. That's strength right there.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to say is, I just feel like with story stitches, bro, like I mean, from the times that I've been there, you know, it's like a great, dope environment, a great love space. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
So I want to ask one more question before we wrap up, and if you have one too, you know, you who may listen to this, you know, whether they're our age, younger or older, you know, what is something that you would really say to somebody who's, you know, an artist trying to, you know, kind of get through this time that we're in now, you know, and just kind of like lost a little bit maybe, or just, you know, need like some encouragement or something? What's something that y'all would say to them?
Be honest to yourself, regardless if you lie to anybody else or anything else, because I'm telling you, self-deception is the worst deception of all. You know what I'm saying? When you don't understand who you are, what you can do, who you are in this world, you know what I'm saying? You're lost already. So just whatever path you may go on, whatever truth you may try to find, you know what I'm saying? Remain true to yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
Most of I would say get in the press, man. Get press on, press forward. You know what I'm saying? Storms don't last forever. If you are lost, if you are stuck or whatnot, let's say if you got writer's block or whatever the case is, you know what I'm saying? The time that you can't write, that you can't come up with nothing, that you don't know what to paint or whatever the case, use that time to work out some other part of your craft. You know what I'm saying? Learn a little more about song structure or what paintbrushes is the best or whatever your craft is. You know what I'm saying? Your craft has many doors to it. So if you can't get through one of them doors, knock on another one and see what that's about until you got that inspiration to write again. And I'll say what's more important than anything, you gotta stay true to yourself. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, the problem with that is that in order for you to stay true to yourself, you have to know who you are. You know what I'm saying? You have to know yourself, and a lot of people don't know themselves. Art is magical, art is spiritual. You know what I'm saying? Art is it's a vulnerable thing when you on stage or when you sharing your art with somebody. You know what I'm saying? So be as pure as you can, be as real as you can, and just press, man. It don't last forever. So the storm don't last forever.
Oh God, my main thing is really just find your purpose in life. With you being honest with yourself, you being true to who you are, you know what I'm saying? Still, what's my overall purpose on this earth? You know what I'm saying? Because at the same time, it's like, yeah, I might like music. Yeah, I might like, you know what I'm saying, dance and fashion, whatever, but like, what's my purpose in life? You know what I'm saying? Tie that along with what you guys saying. Yeah, of course, you have to be true to who you are, because at the same time, if you're not being true to who I am, I'm gonna be like a chameleon. I'm gonna try to like be like this. I'm gonna try to be like this. I'm gonna try to be like everything else except for who I am. You know what I'm saying? So being true to that, have a vision board. Basically what Branden said, I have a vision board in my house. You know what I'm saying? So it's like putting all the things what you want to accomplish in your life before you get a certain age. Because you know, we all don't want to hit like a midlife crisis where we get like 40 something and we haven't even done what we supposed to be doing in our 20s. You know what I'm saying? So like stay on top of that and just be like, just always try to learn something new every day. If it's just reading a book, looking at a documentary, looking at an interview, listening to some new music, just pushing yourself to do something different every day. You know what I'm saying? And once you do that within your personal growth, you're gonna look back on just a month later, just like,
Most definitely.
dang, I did this.
Most definitely.
I did this,
Most
bro. Like, I didn't even think like. And then like the people around you gonna change, because once you start to move differently, your people around you gonna start to move differently. You can't take everybody with you. You know what I'm saying? So like your environment, dude, like change the people around you. Like you can grow up with people, but after a while, it's like, all right, bro, like you gotta go, because you ain't going where I'm trying to go. You know what I'm saying? So at the same time, it's like, if you do pray or you do meditate on just try to focus on those things where you trying to go. You know what I'm saying? Have the right people around you.
I'm real glad you said that. When you, especially if you're chasing that greatest form of you that you can be, you know what I'm saying? If you on that road to your greatest self, you gonna lose friends. You know what I'm saying? You gonna lose friends. You gonna gain people. You know what I'm saying? People that you thought would be there forever is gonna split. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. And you might not even see them until you already at that point. You might not see them again until you at that point that you was trying to get to. You know what I'm saying? And by then you would have already learned how to deal with their absence or whatever the case is. You know what I'm saying? But everybody not built like that. You know what I'm saying? Everybody ain't everybody can't go. Just like you said, everybody can't go, and it ain't no way around it. You're gonna lose people. They gonna call you fake. You know what I'm saying? He forgot where he came from.
But you have to accept all of that.
Exactly, you're right. You know what I'm saying? Keep tunnel vision. You gotta stay focused on where you're trying to go. You know what I'm saying? Because the people that are changing the world aren't asking for permission.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? You can't be waiting for somebody to be okay with it. You know what I'm saying? You gotta do what's in your heart to do.
What you said is good, you know, and what y'all said is good about, you know, your friends. Well, the people who you even may think are your friends, you know, they'll start to separate themselves from you once you know, and sometimes it's not even that, you know, they can't be your friends. It's just that you have your own race. You know what I'm saying? You're in your own lane. And sometimes they're not going to be running as fast as you.
Most
you know what I'm saying?
Most
But and like you said, you can't decide like, I'm not going to run this race. I'm not going to run right now so that they can catch up. It's like, no, you got to keep running.
Absolutely.
And if they're going to catch up, eventually they will catch up. You know what I'm saying? So just like, for me, it's like that, you know, just like being true to yourself. And, you know, for me too, it's just like pray, you know, and grind for what you're praying for. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't just sit and just be waiting.
Absolutely. Faith without works is dead.
Exactly.
That's like I tattooed on my chest, bro.
I feel you. Yeah, you gotta work for it. Just because you're praying for it, you know what I'm saying? You still got to take them steps.
Yeah.
No. I feel like all of it is just connected into the end. Whether you on your own path, you on your own, you know what I'm saying, race. Like you said, a ripple, you know what I'm saying, makes a wave. So whatever you might be doing in the world, even if y'all not connected with each other, you gotta realize is that still affecting them. You know what I'm saying? It's still affecting the world. You know what I'm saying? An action you might wait 2 weeks from now might change something that happens 5 years later. You know what I'm saying? And so whenever you out doing something, whenever you out, you know what I'm saying, trying to change an aspect, remember, it's not just your aspect you changing. You're not just changing your own. You're changing the reality. You're changing the perspective. You know what I'm saying? For multiple people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I definitely want to thank y'all for coming. It's been real
too.
nice talking with y'all.
It was great.
Central alumni.
Before we even started recording, the conversation was already
exactly.
on the level, man.
Yeah, and this is just a little peek of what it was like to go to Central.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? People can just come together and have nice conversations. You know what I'm saying? And it be love. Yeah, absolutely.
Community,
especially outside of school. Like, yeah.
Oh yeah,
definitely,
bro.
definitely. So I just want to thank y'all for being able to come. You know what I'm saying? Thank y'all for imparting y'all wisdom. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
And all of that good stuff. We'd love to have y'all again if the opportunity presents itself.
I just want to say one thing. It did not feel like we were sitting here 22, 21. It didn't feel like that's what this was. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
this didn't even feel like a session. This felt like 5 minutes or something like that. Like, the best time ever.
Yeah. So, like Branden said, I want to thank y'all for coming and for being a part. Definitely was great. So, yeah, folks, to everybody who's out there listening, you just tuned in to a very deep conversation with 4 friends. And hope you enjoy it. Hope you got something out of that, and that, you know, you go back and replay it as many times as you need to get whatever you need to get out of that. So yeah, thanks again, and we out of here.
Thank you for listening. And last but not least, we want to give a very special shout out to the StitchCast studio sponsors: the City of St. Louis Youth at-Risk Crime Prevention Grant of 2020, Stewart Family Foundation, Spirit of St. Louis Women's Fund, and Missouri Foundation for Health. To learn more, visit storystitchers.org.
They say who that, but you already knew that. That be them story stitches. Story stitches, story stitches, story stitches, story stitches.